Welcome everybody to another edition of Breaking Boards, where we give you the best odds of the week for NFL games. Week four. Yes, we are already on week four. Uh, we're going to give you our breakdown of the games and the bets that you should make this weekend. Always, I got Michael, Ben, and Randy. I'm Adam. We have our record so far through 3 weeks, and I would like to say that the records don't look great, but last week we went 12-8 as a group, so much better. Remember, if you'd like to get in this with us and bet yourself or make your lock picks like we do right here, you can have we have a lock contest for those who subscribe to us. Drop your lock. If you win a lock, we'll put your name in a hat for end of the year, end of the regular season contest. With that being said, gentlemen, how are we doing? Are we ready for this weekend?
It's like I'm feeling better.
Not everybody at one time.
It's starting to get a little better. I'm just working my way up one game at a time every double production last 2 weeks.
I'm just going to say that, like, if you look at the records, I know people like to tune in, they like to hate on stuff, but one, this season's gone haywire. If you think about all the upsets, like, I know it's easy to Monday morning quarterback and look back and say, oh, I saw that one coming. But, we're posting this stuff the Thursday morning before a game, and we record Wednesday night. So I think if anybody would have been betting this whole season all along, it's been a tough season. Plus, just looking at, like, Survivor pools, like 96% of Survivor pools are dead. You got 4% of teams left, and they're just picking winners. They're not picking against spreads and props and stuff like that. So
it's crazy.
If you got a lock and you think you can beat us in the rankings, drop it down below in the comments, and we'll find out at the end of the season.
Yeah, I mean, this season has started off tough, but nobody predicted all the injuries and stuff that's happened. So that's part of it.
It's a long season left to go. A lot of things can happen. But, that's why they play the game. NFL is a lot about parity this day and age. And it makes everything intriguing and fun to watch. So let us get started with the Thursday night game this week. It will be the Cowboys at the Giants. The Giants are plus 5.5. Implied total is 45.5. Cowboys coming off of a loss. Giants also coming off of a loss. So, no. Giants won, didn't they? I'm sorry.
No.
Wait.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, they did. They have.
They
That's right. Everybody in the East won except for the Cowboys. That's right. So, Giants beat Cleveland. My bad. My apologies. So, Giants come off that win. Cowboys 2 in a row loss. What do we have in this game? We'll start with Michael.
At minus 5.5, that is actually my first lock of the week. I'm just gonna start it off right off the rip. I mean, at this point, like, Cowboys have to get it going. Like, you can't go 1-3. You definitely can't have the Giants hand you that third loss at this point in the season. Like, it should be an easy win for Dallas, honestly. I know it's in New York, but the Cowboys should have enough weapons, and honestly, at this point, should have enough urgency to go out there and play their best game. I mean, it's still Daniel Jones at the end of the day for the Giants. So one of my locks this week is Dallas minus 5.5. So that's how I feel about Dallas this week.
Ben?
Well, you stole my lock, so there's that. But I'm going to go with Cowboys winning this game. Daniel Jones is 1-7, I think it is, the last time against the Cowboys. I think he has like a 58% completion percentage and like a 4 to 13 TD to turnover ratio. So I think this is pretty much a lock for Dallas.
Danny turnovers over there.
Yeah.
Randy?
I'm going to go off the board. I'm going to take Greg Joseph under 6.5 kicker points. I've been killing these kicker props all season. Of the 36 kickers who have attempted a field goal in 24, Joseph ranks 36 of 36 with a total of 2 for the season. And those 2 came on extra points after he failed to make his only field goal attempt of the season. In a game where Dallas is favored by nearly a touchdown, I just see the Giants being in catch-up mode, which typically doesn't bode well for a kicker trying to put field goals through. So I'll take the under on 6.5 kicker points for Joseph.
I want to say this. Giants beat Cleveland last week. The Dallas Cowboys beat Cleveland week 1. Winner of this game gets to own Cleveland, right? Is that how it goes?
Does anybody want to own Cleveland?
I'm about to say, does anybody want Cleveland? I mean, does anybody even want the state
I don't
of
know.
Ohio? I don't think they do.
I don't trust that. As bad as the offense is for the Giants, I don't really trust that Cowboys defense. That Cowboys defense is like anemic. It's like, it's like really bad under Mike Zimmer. They're missing Dan Quinn. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
but all they gotta do
Yes,
is-
I know you're being through all the stats about Danny Dimes and everything like that, or Danny picks or interceptions or
turnovers.
whatever.
Yeah.
Danny turnovers. But this game's going to be close, and I don't want to rain on y'all's 5.5 parade, but it's going to be probably a field goal game. So, not locking that in
Who
by
do you-
any stretch of the imagination. Don't get me wrong.
Who do you think has used more lotion in the last few years, P. Diddy or Deshaun Watson?
Oof. I don't know. Diddy does like the baby oil.
It's close.
Yeah,
Very
toss up.
close. That is what we're going to be talking about probably for this Thursday night game because it will probably be trash. Amazon. So let's just get that straight right before we get. It's
I'm
not
not
going to
gonna
be anything
talk
good about this game. This under is probably very much in play. Okay, just to be honest. So I will move on though to a. I wouldn't say it's a marquee matchup of this weekend, but it's definitely a win this game and your season goes a certain direction. Lose this game and your season is officially probably done. The Bengals at the Panthers. Panthers are plus 4.5 at home. Total is 46.5. Ben, can the Bengals finally win a game?
I don't know. I mean, do any of us really know what the Bengals can or cannot do this season? They don't look like a team. It just looks like a bunch of individuals out there trying to play football. I'm going to go though with this one. I'm leaning towards the Bengals. I mean, with all that said, I mean, you figure they have to work it out at some point in time, and this is a good get-right game for them, I guess, against the Panthers. So I'll take the Bengals. Not locking nothing in, though.
Randy?
Yeah, I'm kind of with Ben. I don't really love a lot here. I think that if you're going to consider anything, you can look at Zach Moss over rushing yards. I'd want to tease it down a little bit, though. It did come out in the 50s, and Chase Brown is starting to see a ramp up of touches on a week-to-week basis. I'd be okay with Moss at like over 45.5, which I got at minus 190. Carolina allows 4.6 yards per carry to opposing running backs, and Moss is averaging 4.1 yards per carry, which is pretty good, except for Chase Brown is averaging 7.7 yards per carry. I think if Brown comes out and he's running hot, he could steal some carries from Moss and eat into his ability to hit that over. But I think you just take whoever you like in this running game against Carolina. Carolina's been just absolutely obliterated on the ground for the last 2 seasons.
Now to our resident Panther fan, Michael, the Red Rocket, came in and had 3 touchdown passes and 300 yards last week. First quarterback to do that all year until Monday night. What do you see in this game?
4 words: Andy Dalton revenge game. But I don't feel that confident about it. I'm probably going to stay away from this one. I don't know. The Bengals just have some problems. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the Panthers are not a good team. I think Dalton obviously gives them a better chance to win, but I mean, we saw Malik Willis with the revenge game last week against the Titans. I mean, Andy Dalton's probably got another 2 or 3 games in him before he completely falls off, turns back into Andy Dalton. But I just stay away from this game. I mean, since he's not playing good football and the Panthers they're just not a good team. I mean, you might as well just throw the money away if you're on this game, in my opinion.
Or just send it to us, one or the other. I mean, we'll take it.
Yeah, we'll take good care of it. This game, it's no identity. I don't know the identity of either team right now, but Carolina is. They got a little something brewing with Andy Dalton. They think Cincinnati's defense, pass defense, not very good. So we'll see if the trends continue.
Well, Cincinnati sold everybody on the back end. They got rid of everybody, so of course their pass defense isn't very good.
Let's move on to the Broncos at the Jets. Jets are 7.5-point favorites at home. Implied total is 39.5. Randy, what do you see in this game?
I actually have 2 locks in this game. I know it's kind of a nasty game, but lock number 1 is going to be Aaron Rodgers under 221.5 passing yards, and play 2 is going to be a lock on the under Garrett Wilson 58.5 receiving yards. Denver has allowed the fewest passing yards per game this season. No opposing passer has topped 180 yards through the air. Rodgers only has 1 game where he's topped 180 yards. Patrick Surtain has faced off against DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Mike Evans so far this year. And he's allowed an average of 25 receiving yards per game. I just don't think this passing offense gets off the ground for New York in a game where they're favored also. I just see a lot of unders in this spot. It's 38.5 total. I mean, the Jets are favored by 7.5. I mean, it's just not a great spot for Rodgers and Wilson, in my opinion.
Michael?
Yeah, I'm ready here. I mean, like, what was it? You say 6.5 for the Jets? Minus 6.5 on this one? Or
7.5.
7.5? Yeah. I mean, with a game that's over under 38.5, it's a big spread.
On FanDuel.
Still, that's a huge spread for a game under 40 points. I mean, I just think it's just going to be a slugfest. I mean, I like the under, honestly. I don't think either team really gets anything going. I mean, the Broncos have been winning with what? Hopes, field goals, dreams. So, yeah, I like the under on the game if I'm going to do anything, but I really don't like the game overall.
Ben?
I mean, I'm going to lock in Breece Hall touchdown. I mean, he's got one every game so far. But Denver's going to keep this one close thanks to defense. And I think Denver covered the spread. So if you want to bet on that too, you can go for that.
I got a narrative that's probably not looked at in this game, but Nathaniel Hackett revenge game. I know. But Aaron Rodgers is going to take care of him. And Aaron Rodgers loves Nathaniel Hackett and wants to prove Denver, even though now it's been 2 years, removed, he still has something to say about that one. So, yeah. And I'm pretty sure Aaron Rodgers doesn't like Sean Payton at all. So
don't be burning up my revenge games. I got 3 more revenge games the rest of the year for Andy Dalton. Yeah. So don't be burning them up here. We don't care about the Jets or the Broncos.
We will move on to the Saints at the Falcons. Falcons are 2.5-point favorites at home. Total is 42.5. Michael, I think the Saints came back down to earth this past week. What do we have in this game?
Yeah, I like Atlanta minus 2.5 at home. I mean, they've showed some improvements. I mean, honestly, they probably should have beat the Chiefs, if not due to maybe a questionable call in the end zone there. Falcons at home. The NFC South. It seems like most of these teams win at home, and they usually split the series and just lose on the road. So I'm gonna go with Falcons win this game. They're in a little bit more of the urgent need to win at 1-2. Going to 1-3 wouldn't be very good. I think Kirk's starting to get his feet under him a little bit better. So yeah, I'm gonna take Atlanta -2.5.
Ben?
I just don't like the -2.5. I love it. I'm going to lock it in. Like you said, the Falcons should have beat Kansas City, which was a much better team than what Falcons are, what we thought, anyways. This is one of those rivalry games, if I can say it correctly, that doesn't really get a lot of hype, around the league, but it's pretty tough. And Atlanta at home, I take Atlanta.
Randy?
I'm going to go ahead and lock in my Greg Joseph under 7.5 kicker points from earlier. Also, Michael, I know you're keeping track of that, but in this game, I'm going to lock in Kirk Cousins over 218.5 passing yards on FanDuel at -114. He's been over in 2 of his 3 starts this year. The only time he went under was against Pittsburgh in that style defense. New Orleans has allowed opposing quarterbacks to hit the over in 2 of 3 games, and the only game that didn't hit the over was Bryce Young. They allowed Dak to throw for 293, and they allowed 311 to Jalen Hurts. I think this game's going to be close. Vegas thinks the same with a 1.5 point spread, 2.5 point spread. The game had a 42 total, which is catching money on the over, which tends to lead to more passing. So I like Kirk at home in the Dome, non-prime time against a questionable pass defense.
I almost think Kirk Cousins is starting to become a primetime quarterback. His last 2 games have been primetime, and he's done really, really well. That may bode for him to regress during a Sunday 1 o'clock game. I'm taking the Saints money line, and I am locking it in as my first lock of this week. The letdown for the Chiefs game, I think the Saints, they had a letdown, and they're going to be able to come back from it. And this is always like Ben said, a rivalry game, and I got the Saints in this one. We shall move on. Vikings at Packers. Green Bay's a 2.5 point favorite at home. Total is 43.5. I haven't heard any Jordan Love news unless y'all have. I've been busy this week. Ben, what's your take on this game?
If Jordan Love plays, I'm going to take Green Bay. If he doesn't, I'm going with the Vikings. I apologize to all of your, all the Viking fans out there for last week. Should have gave them more respect and did not. So I'll go with the Vikings if Jordan Love doesn't play.
It's so painful he got stuck. He couldn't even talk anymore into the mic.
Yeah.
It's actually dubbed. He's not even here anymore. We've just put these words in his mouth.
Carry us out of this situation. Go.
It's going to be tough for me. I'm still trying to get myself working through the beatdown that I took on Sunday. I think that, early season coach of the year has to be Kevin O'Connell, and Brian Flores probably need to split it 50-50 because those guys are doing a hell of a job with that Minnesota roster that coming into the season didn't look so great. And those guys are going out there and coaching their asses off. And they beat the brakes off us, and we have a better roster pretty much top to bottom, maybe minus Jefferson. And it wasn't even a game. They just beat the hell out of us. So I'm not going to disrespect Minnesota by even thinking I know anything about them. I'm just going to wait and watch like everybody else. No play in this game for me.
Ben has arrived back to the living. Michael, what you got?
Honestly, it's just an even game. I feel like it's a trap to pick the Vikings now because I feel like we're all feeling it. We're all feeling good about it, and we go to the Vikings, and I mean, Packers at home. If I had to choose, I'd just do Packers money line. It's going to be a close game. It feels like the Vikings have gotten us into this. Oh, we feel good about them, and I think they're going to give us a false sense of security this week, and they're not going to build off last week. I mean, it's a tough season. I mean, it's tough to win every game in the NFL, and it just feels like this might be a spot where maybe they just don't perform as well as they have throughout the season. So I'm going to pick Packers money line here. I don't feel great about it, but if I had to go one way or the other, that's where I would go.
Just pick. Just do what Ben did. Just pick both sides. That way, whoever wins, you can just pretend like you're right.
Exactly.
We'll just
Jordan Love was a limited participant in practice today, so he may be back this weekend.
I mean, if I was the Packers, I'd probably let him sit one more week out.
Lock it in. Vikings money line. Done. Moving on.
Not only is he drinking the Kool-Aid, I can smell it on his breath.
It's purple. It's great. It's purple. It is. Jaguars, Texans. Texans are minus 6.5 point favorite at home. The total is 45.5. Randy, Texans coming off a loss. Jaguars coming off a beatdown.
Yep.
Absolutely. They may be the worst team in the league. Beatdown. What do you have in this game?
I mean, in this game, I don't really have a good, any kind of strong conviction one way or the other. I like the Kaimi Fairbairn over 7.5 kicker points. I'd probably wait till the weekend to see if it gets bet down. He's hit the over in 70% of his games against Jacksonville. He's played them 10 times. You could probably look at like over 51.5 receiving for Stephon Diggs. He's hit that over in all 3 career matchups against Jacksonville. Granted, those were with Minnesota and Buffalo. But I think you're right. I mean, I think this Jacksonville team doesn't have an identity. I think Doug Peterson's probably the first coach to go, maybe as early as this week when they get beat down this week. You got a pissed off good roster coming off a loss, beat down. Like we're gonna step back up to the plate this week, and I feel like we're probably gonna make Jacksonville look like they did against Buffalo, and that's probably gonna get old Dougie Fresh out of the building in Jacksonville. You got to feel for him, like going Urban Meyer. You draft Trevor Lawrence thinking he's, the next second coming to Jesus, and I think it was just second coming of Jesus. Because if you watched him at Clemson, I could have called this. Like he got all the hype and none of the accolades, and I'm just not a fan. I think he's tall, blonde-headed Danny Dimes.
Michael?
I actually like Houston minus 6.5 here. That's actually one of my locks this week. Coming off of a loss, and a pretty bad loss, like I think they're going to take it out on the Jaguars here. It's at Houston. I mean, the Jaguars' offense looks bad. Like, I just think what Lawrence's issue is his release is too slow. Like he's not seeing guys. His release is slow. Houston pass rush is going to get to him all game, I think. And I mean, other than Brian Thomas Jr., who's a rookie, I mean, like, I don't think the rest of their receiving core is that good. They can't get Ingram back. I mean, like, Christian Kirk's all right, but he's no wide receiver one. I don't think anybody goes into the game day and goes, oh, he's going to beat us bad. Like, it's just – he's been so-so.
So, I mean, like, not comparing myself to an NFL receiver or anything, but I was pretty decent back in the day in high school and stuff. And I watched the game Monday night, which is the first Jacksonville game most of us have probably watched in the last few seasons. And it's hard to get in a rhythm. It's hard to kind of learn, what to expect from the cornerback across from me when you're rotating 6, 7, 8 wide receivers in. I mean, the only full-time receiver that was on the field was Thomas. All these other guys were just coming in and out of the game. It's hard to get in a rhythm and get timing down when you're trying to play 8 receivers. Like, it's almost impossible.
But I think that's part of their problem. They don't know who. They're all too bunched together skill-wise. They don't have another true option other than Thomas, in my opinion.
I watched that game for the first half, then I turned it to the real game.
Yeah.
Good thing we had choices Monday night. This past week.
Hey,
Yeah, again,
breaking
this week as
news.
well.
Breaking news: Ian Rappaport just said that Jordan Love has a very real shot at playing in Week 4.
Good. I could use a very good shot at winning another game this week.
Ben, speaking of shots, you going to do any in this Jacksonville game after they lose, or Houston, or how are you playing this out? Is it Nico time?
I'm going Nico touchdown. I mean, I think everybody gets a touchdown this game, pretty much. So
Everybody gets a touchdown.
Yeah, the way Jacksonville's defense is, everybody gets a touchdown. But no, I'm locking in Nico touchdown for sure.
They finally raised the guy's reception prop to 5.5. By the way.
Oh no!
Oh,
Finally,
wow.
yeah.
Okay, the standard 4.5 now is no longer there.
No, it's 5.5. Yeah.
Wow, that makes sense. I understand.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I got nothing in this game. This game's going to be a massive blowout, probably. To be honest with you, Texans by 40, maybe. I'm kidding. It'll still be pretty bad. One team got dog walked, and one other team got put into a dog kennel. And they're like, I don't like this kennel. I got to get out of here. So we don't like being the caged animal anymore. We're getting out of here. We're going to go back doing where we do best. But we will move on to the Steelers and Colts. Colts are plus 1.5 at home. Total is 40.5. Randy, I saw you message something about Russell Wilson and a lot of stuff going on. I'll get to you in just a moment. Michael, what you got in this game?
I think this game's going to be boring. I don't think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I don't know if the Colts don't feel like they've built on anything they did last year. Like, the offense doesn't look very fluid. I mean, they started to get Taylor going this past week, it looks like, a little more, but it doesn't look like AR is very comfortable in that offense at the moment. On the other side, the Steelers look like they're comfortable just beating you 15-10 and just slugging it out the entire game and just playing defense. So I like the Steelers to win the game. I mean, at this point, Mike Tomlin always wins somehow 9 or 10 games a year with what looks like a team that shouldn't win 5. So I'm going to go Steelers money line here. And that's probably all I'm going to roll with this game. It's not a very good touchdown choosing game since the point total will probably be low.
Ben?
Yeah, I don't really have anything in this game. I mean, I sent a message to the guys earlier this week that Microsoft AI predicted the Steelers to go 11-0 this year. So, I mean, if you guys believe that, go ahead, and bet the Steelers.
Well, that's what I'm rolling with. That's the only reason I picked him. I just wanted to make it seem like I had a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, if you believe in AI, go ahead and roll with it.
Randy?
I believe in AI, but only the one that plays in Philly. I mean, this one's pretty simple for me. Who has the worst completion percentage in the league this year?
AR.
Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson. Who leads the league in interceptions?
AR.
Anthony Richardson. Over 2 per game. Pittsburgh is tied for the 4th most interceptions, taking the ball away from opposing passers more than once per game. Pittsburgh is a slight favorite, which should lead to Indy passing the ball more than they want to with this quarterback. I think Pittsburgh gets another interception. I think this is a big game for Houston, going back to the previous game, in that Jacksonville looks terrible. Indy looks terrible. Tennessee looks terrible. If we can get string a couple wins together, we should walk away with this division and be cruising in the playoffs.
I don't dislike it. I love the under in this game. You have 2 teams that don't score points very well. You have 2 defenses that play pretty decently. Steelers play very, very well in defense. It's gonna be it's in a dome, but it doesn't matter. It's a nasty game. It's just I can see 3 or 4 turnovers between the two teams in this game, no matter who starts at quarterback for the Steelers. Which is probably Justin Fields, but they never close that book on Wilson. So what was that whole Wilson thing earlier, Randy, that you posted to us? That Russell Wilson week. What was it? Anything?
I don't think it was me that posted it.
Okay.
That's why I was wondering what you were
Okay.
talking about. I just went with it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. I saw something. Somebody said something about Russell Wilson, but
Are you locking the under here?
yeah, the under is locked for this game.
What is it? 30.
Locking it at 40 and a half on FanDuel. That's what I got it locked in at. 40 and a half.
Also, before we jump off that game, this is another good game to look at the kicker points. Chris Boswell should get 3, 4, 5 field goal attempts in this game versus Indy.
Let us move on to the Rams at Bears. Bears are 2.5-point favorites at home. Another total of 40 and a half. Man, your Rams are, still winning games somehow with all the injuries.
Holding on by a thread is what we're doing. Holding on by a thread.
Played a Bears team that looks, they still haven't found it yet. They still haven't got to where they need to be with Caleb Williams. What do you got in this game?
I'm locking in Rams money line at plus 130. So, McVay, great coach. He proved it last week. We're down 21-0, whatever it was, and insane to come back in any NFL game being down by that much. And I like the way Stafford was still uplifting his teammates, when they made mistakes. And we have a real team, I believe. They're gelling together. It's not a bunch of individuals like the Bengals are out there playing football. So I like this Rams team.
Randy?
I think you do have a bunch of individuals because I can't name half of them now that Puka and Cooper Kupp are off the field. But yeah, there's not a lot to love. If you think the Rams will win, I think you can look at a Kyron Williams touchdown anytime.
He's about all that's left to score.
I guess my only thing that I would bring up in this game is a question, and that's, is DeAndre Swift of 2024 just Miles Sanders of 2023? Just in a different city?
It's kind of looking like it, but the Bears' offensive line is atrocious, so it's really hard to judge.
So was Carolina's last year, though.
Yeah, but I think Swift's been better in other places. Swift was fine with Detroit for a while.
I could argue that so was Miles Sanders in Philly.
Yeah, but he was only in Philly. Like Swift in Philly did well. Swift in Detroit did fine. He just got hurt. He's got a little more track record of different offenses that he's been better in. The Bears in general just aren't, with as many weapons as they have. they should be putting up points left and right.
Is this the Georgia fan talking, or is this the?
No, Swift. Swift's a solid running back. He's not top 10, but he's like middle of the road NFL, like average running back. If you take all 32 team starters, he's probably somewhere in that 16-17 range.
I just think he's one of those players that it doesn't really move the needle. Like,
Yeah.
I would, if you told me I could get DeAndre Swift in an NFL draft in round 3 or Carson Steele in round 7, I would just take Carson Steele and keep it moving.
I would too, because unless you get just like that all-out running back that can do everything well, it's not worth wasting a pick that high on a running back. Because like you said, you can just get those guys in the 6th, 7th round. What was Kyron Williams, 5th round?
Undrafted, I think. Right, or he was late.
Yeah, he wasn't early. A lot of these guys that are starting for teams weren't early picks.
It's a good question on Kyron. I know he wasn't a high draft pick.
I want to say it was like 5th or 6th round.
Yeah, he was late. Yeah.
He went 5th round, 164 overall.
Also, back to the Rams game. I'm also walking in Rams money line as well. I had that one down on my sheet. I'm sorry, like until the Bears prove they can win games, I'm not picking the Bears for anything. This is classic Bears going into the season. It looks like they fleeced Carolina with all the picks, which maybe they have. They've gathered all these weapons for Caleb Williams, and they go play the games and they look like the same old Bears. So I'm still going Rams and McVay with Stafford at quarterback. Like I think money line, I feel good about it. I'm locking it.
Is this the third game that you guys have agreed on the game? These teams are so screwed.
I think so. Yeah.
I think it's our second.
I thought it was the third one.
I don't know.
No, second one. For sure.
Yeah, second.
Because you guys
But,
did Dallas,
I am-
right?
Yeah, we did Dallas. Yeah.
And then you both took Atlanta, I think.
Well, but I think we liked Atlanta. I didn't
Yeah,
lock.
Nobody
Michael picked Atlanta or lock it. I locked it. So I didn't lock
We all
Dallas
took-
though. I let him have Dallas.
So
We all
each
took
lady
Houston.
have one, and they both locked it.
Yeah, we both locked the Rams. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I am
Yeah, my
going
Rams
to
are
pass on
screwed.
this
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
Passing
No,
on this game.
we're trending upward. Okay, then you're trending upward on
but
picks.
are you going to drag me down? I mean, that's what.
Look,
Whoa!
if I follow the current trend, I will either win 3 or 4 of these this week. I don't know if I'm doubling every week or just going up 1 just because of the way it's going. I went 0, 1, 2. I either will get 3 or 4. I just don't know if I'm going to double it or just only go up 1 at a time. I hadn't figured it out yet.
I went 2-0-3. I don't know how that does.
Well, week 2 sucked for I think all of us.
Let us move on to the last game in the 1:00 window. The Eagles at Buccaneers. Buccaneers are plus 1.5 at home. Total is 44.5. Let's see. Finish with Michael. So Randy, what you got?
I think there's a lot to like in this game. I don't have any like specific plays, but if you're playing DFS, Tampa Bay is horrible against opposing quarterbacks. I can see Jalen Hurts rushing one in also. They're pretty bad on the ground. I just think if you're going to look at this game, you probably look at the over on the total. I don't really like anything specifically.
Michael?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a great game. If I had to choose anything, I'd probably take Bucks in the points. I mean, Bucks are at home, so Tampa +2. I mean, to me, Tampa's looked better overall this season. I know last game didn't go well, but the Eagles still seem to have some flaws on that offense. They're not clicking. Plus, I mean, they're gonna be missing what, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith this game potentially.
They both missed practice today.
Yeah, I don't think Devontae plays. I mean, maybe Brown comes back, but even if he does, he's not 100%. So I mean, the Bucks are just more. Everybody's healthier on the Bucks at this point, and it's in Tampa. I'm honestly surprised they're giving the Bucks points at home. To the point where I think I'm going to talk myself into just go ahead and locking the Bucks money line on this one. I'm actually going to have to cancel another one later. When I talk myself into.
I think the closer we get to the weekend, the closer it's going to be to a pick 'em. Given that whenever AJ gets, like we all don't expect AJ and Devonta to play this week, which that hit on Devonta was nasty. But I think the closer we get to the weekend, the more that people are going to lean toward the Tampa Bay side when they get ruled out officially for some reason.
Jahan Dotson, #1 wide receiver. Dallas Goddard really number one wide receiver.
Yeah, I'm about to say big Goddard. Yeah,
Ben, what do you got?
I got nothing on this game. I mean, it should be a pretty good game, one would think. I mean, but we thought the Eagles Saints game would be pretty good, and it just got good at the end. The game itself kind of just sucked. So, we'll see how this game goes. I don't know. I'm not picking anything.
I got nothing in this game as well. on paper it could be okay, but with key pieces being out, who knows how this is going to go. You could have some weird touchdown scores on the Eagles team if the big two are out. Plus, I think Britton Covey's out too. They liked him a lot, but I think he got hurt last week too. I don't know if he's going to be able to play. So that might be 3 receivers down. I don't know who receiver 5, 6, and 7 are on the Eagles, but they're going to be called up. So
It's Paris Campbell, which we've
Paris
done that experiment
Campbell.
about 4.
yeah, I've seen that one before.
Maybe you'll stick on it then.
Let us move on to a game where a team is not going to be happy that they're having to play. The Patriots at San Fran. San Fran is 10.5-point favorites. The implied total is 40.5. Michael, this 49ers team cannot be happy with themselves, first and foremost, about what they've done the last couple of weeks. And unfortunately, the Patriots come, unfortunately for the Patriots, because they aren't that great at anything, really. How do you see this game playing out? And do you have any bets?
10.5 seems like a lot for a game that's set at 40 total points.
Yeah, we just went over that, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, like I didn't like it at 7.5, and what was it, that Jets game? Like I don't know, man. The 49ers are beat up. Like I know Jawan Jennings had the game of his life this past week, but we've seen enough Jawan Jennings to know that he's probably not going to do that week in and week out. I think the Patriots will actually keep it within the 10.5. I don't feel good about this game at all. But I mean, 10.5 is a lot for an NFL team. I mean, the Patriots may not have a lot of weapons, but if I do recall, they played. Who did they beat? Who was it? Week 1, the Bengals.
The Bengals.
Yeah. So I mean, they played up once. All I'm expecting them to do is play up a little bit and just keep the spread within 10.5. Like I'm not expecting them to win this game, but I think it'll be close.
We don't really know if the Patriots played up in that game or the Bengals played down or the Bengals are just down anyway.
I mean, we'll know by 4:05 if the Panthers beat them. they're just done. They're not any good.
Ben, what do you got in this game?
Well, here's just some food for thought here. The biggest underdog has won outright each week this season.
Wow.
And guess who the biggest underdog is this week?
Oh, you can't really? The Patriots?
The Patriots.
That's a
Play
crazy.
change that real quick.
So, I mean, if you want to go that route, there's, like I said, it's a food for thought, but I'm staying away from this game personally because, like I said, I don't know. So I'm
I'm
staying
gonna
away from
go bet up the Jets for a little bit to get them out of this game. Maybe the Broncos can then be the biggest underdog. Randy.
I have my next lock from this game. I'm going to take Hunter Henry under 14.5 as his longest reception. Through 3 weeks of the season, San Francisco has allowed a total of 39 receiving yards to opposing tight ends, and the longest reception against them has been 9 yards. Henry's reached the over on it once this season, and that's in a game where he saw 12 targets against Seattle. In those 12 targets, he saw 1 target of more than 11 yards downfield. I just don't think there's any way he gets close to 14.5. Fred Warner's going to lock him up. It's going to be a tough day at the office for the only weapon for New England? Question mark.
Yeah, I can see that for sure. I got my 4th lock on this game, and I am going to go back to the well and take a Brandon Ayuk anytime touchdown. It's got to happen sometime. Why not be this week? There's no way. There is 0.102 chance that Jawan Jennings has the exact duplicate game or better game than he did last week.
First of all, he owes me $10,000. We'll start there.
Okay.
You guys saw that on Sunday afternoon.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big Jawan Jennings fan right now.
He doesn't do that. Brandon Ayuk, will find the end zone some way, somehow this weekend. Moving on to the Commanders at Cardinals. Cardinals are 3.5-point favorites at home. Implied total is 50.5, and I can see that could be definitely a thing that could happen. Jaden Daniels had the game of his life Monday night. Ben, what you got?
This game's very interesting. I mean, it should be entertaining, I would think. I would take the over on DraftKings because they have it set at 50. So I would take the over on that one. Not locking it in, but that's just what I would take on this game.
Randy.
I think just like with Indy, typically, I didn't get that play this week, but I think you take Jaden Daniels or you take Brian Robinson Jr. with Eckler out, whichever one you like, anytime touchdown.
Michael?
Yeah, I like the over in this game too. I don't think either team really seems to love to play defense. And I think both of them scored over 30 this past week. So, I mean, I like the over. I mean, I just think they're just going to go back and forth overall.
Statistically, these are the two worst defenses over the last 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a highly entertaining game. Lots of points, I think. I'm just going to sit back and watch.
Cardinals 30-point game. I don't think they did so hot this past week.
Yeah.
Sorry. They did score 41 the week prior, though.
Yes. Let's move on to the Chiefs at the Chargers. Chargers are plus 7.5 at home. Implied total in this game is 39.5. Justin Herbert might be out again. Is that accurate to say?
Looks like he's going to play somehow,
Yeah.
some way. Dude's just like Dollar Tree Matthew Stafford.
May not last depending on what happens if something happens to ankle again like it did this past weekend. So proceed with caution is what I would say. Randy, what you got in this game?
Honestly, I think this is a bunch of nastiness. I think Casey squeaks out a 4-point victory, and they keep it moving. This Chargers team is not nearly as good as that 2-0 record indicated. We kind of saw that in week 3. I don't know what the hell's going on with Kansas City. Like, when they lost Pacheco, that was maybe the second worst person they could have lost on the team. Kind of kills their identity. Travis Kelce looks more like Hollywood than NFL football player right now. And yeah, I don't think this Kansas City team is as good as what they will be at the end of the season. And this Chargers team is just not good in general.
Michael.
Yeah, I think the Chargers keep it within the 7.5. I don't think there's a lot of scoring, but the Chargers have at least made an effort to establish the run game this year. I think overall, just because they're gonna eat up the clock, they're gonna try and just chunk off 3-5 yards at a time. I think they'll keep it within the 7.5, but I really don't think it's gonna be one of those weird ones where they're not really close, or they're close, but it just never felt like the Chiefs could lose the game. So I mean, I like at least I'd take the Chargers plus 7.5, but I'd probably just stay away in general.
Ben?
Yeah, I'd stay away from this game too. I mean, it's going to, like I said, go be Chargers pretty much running out the clock, or at least trying to. But Kansas City's going to get touchdowns. I think Chargers are going to get field goals. And Mahomes always finds a way to win. So go with Kansas City.
Yeah. I don't have anything in this game. Travis Kelce has looked like he's ready to hang it up and be Mr. Taylor Swift for the rest of his life. So it's time to go. It's time to go, buddy. You can leave now. You got enough money. Let somebody else do it. Moving on, Browns at Raiders. Raiders are 1.5-point favorites at home. Total is 37.5. Antonio Pierce called out a bunch of his team for some business decisions being made. And then he doubled down and said that they were going to make some business decisions as a coaching staff and as an organization. Michael, read through the tea leaves. What do we have in this game going on?
I think the Raiders are going to make some business decisions that they probably shouldn't make here, because it seemed like it was kind of directed towards Devontae Adams, which is about the only player you can trust on offense, short of maybe Bowers getting established, but he's still a rookie. So I'm actually going to lock in the Browns money line here. And the reason being that if the Carolina Panthers, can beat the Las Vegas Raiders, then the Browns can beat them too. I don't know. The Browns are just somehow still a more sound team, in my opinion. I mean, they at least have a defense. So I'm gonna lock in Browns money line here for me. But I think most people would rather watch paint dry than try to watch this game.
Ben?
Staying away from this game. Yeah, I mean, the way this season has gone, the season of unknowns pretty much, this game's a big unknown. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with either team, so I'm going to stay away from it.
Randy?
I'm going to make a business decision of my own and say next game.
Yeah, I'm just so glad this Commanders-Cardinals game is on this slate, so we can actually have something to watch at 4 o'clock. Because these other three could be really, really ugly.
I mean, look at the point totals of the other three. So 39.5, 36.5, 40.5. Like,
and then 50.5.
News stats.
Yeah.
And then 50.
If you're playing DFS this weekend, don't wait to play the 4 o'clock slate because it's going to be a 100% owned Washington versus Arizona stacks.
Reverse of last week. Like you don't really want to wait to have all your players until the end. You kind of want to go ahead and take care of them early, unless it's in that game or the Sunday night game. Buffalo at Baltimore. Baltimore is 2.5-point favorites. Total is 46.5. Ben, got anything in this game?
I'm starting to fall in love with this Buffalo team. I mean, they look different. They don't look like the same Buffalo that we've seen in the past. And I think the big reason is Stephon Diggs. I truly believe that. Diggs, yeah. I mean, I think when he was there, he kind of drove Josh Allen probably crazy about, wanting him to throw him the ball all the time. So, yeah. And now Allen's just playing free. I mean, he's spreading the ball around to multiple receivers. I mean, he's looking pretty good, and without the turnovers too. So, I would take Buffalo spread plus 2.5 on this one. I'm not locking it in though.
Randy?
I think you take whichever receiving running back that you like the best, whether it be Justice Hill for Baltimore or you take James Cook for Buffalo and you take their over receiving yards. I'm actually going to be looking at both, but being Sunday night game, there's no line out yet on both of those. If you get something 11.5 Justice Hill, that would be perfectly fine. If you get something like 19.5 for James Cook, I would take that also. Love this spot for both players. It's going to be a good game. I'm glad this one's Sunday night.
Michael?
While we hated on one Georgia running back earlier, I think we have to at least praise this Georgia running back in James Cook. He's been electric on this offense.
Now, hold on just a minute here. I got to stop you right there for 2 seconds.
You're just upset because you played against him.
James Cook was my keeper, and you said you kept James Cook. I can't believe you kept James Cook. I kept James Cook and traded CMC right before the season. How's that working out?
Pretty solid, but you also traded James Cook to me in the other league. So
I did trade him.
Just to play against him. No, I mean, this is going to be a good game. We're also going to play a little bit of Where's Waldo and where's Mark Andrews?
He will be back
we
this
already
week.
talked about that.
I mean, it's like him and Kelsey decide to just like call each other in the middle of the offseason and go, why don't we just check out? We don't need to be top tight ends anymore. Let's just get out of here. He's killing me. But, I mean, I like the Bills to win. I've tried to fall on this. Ravens need to win this game. They need to win this game, but then they don't do it. Bills just they're just hard to guard because they really don't have any true superstars in the wide receiver group, but it makes it kind of tougher because you don't know who to key in. I like the Bills to win again. Josh Allen's locked in right now. So I'd probably take Bills in the points plus 2.5.
I got my last lock on this game. And you probably already know what it is.
Ayuk anytime touchdown. I got you.
It will
Josh
be
Allen interception.
It will not be a Josh Allen interception. Let me go ahead and clear the air on that one. I'm with y'all. Okay, I'm with Ben especially. You're right. Stephon Diggs could have been the absolute problem.
He kept forcing the ball to them. So.
We're gonna learn. Unfortunately, through Randy's team, how bad of a problem Stephon Diggs may have been later this year. Hopefully, not so bad for C.J. Stroud. Hopefully he straightens them out and ships them off somewhere and gets them out of there quickly if he is a problem. But D'Amico Ryans, I don't think he'll take that and allow that to be an issue. If Diggs steps out of line with him, but Sean McDermott, I can see him being passive. Like, hey, I don't know. No, you do what you. I can see D'Amico getting in there and being like, no, we ain't doing this. So that for Randy's team should be taken care of. Couldn't been taken care of though in Buffalo. Josh Allen, like I said, probably went a little crazy, went out of his mind, tried to force things, tried to do all kinds of things that he shouldn't have done. He's playing a lot better. He hasn't really played from behind yet though this year, but when you're doing what you're doing, you don't have. You don't have to.
Don't have to play from behind if you don't get behind.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm laying off of Josh Allen's interceptions for the indefinite future. Josh, maybe you are listening to us. Maybe you have heard me talk. I don't know. Maybe it's got it back around to you. So I just want a sincere apology. You're doing the thing now. With that being said, you also found Dalton Kincaid this past weekend on Monday night, and you'll do it again. And I have a Dalton Kincaid anytime touchdown with my lock. Let us now move on to the doubleheader on Monday night. One we could probably skip, but for all intents and purposes, we'll go over it real quick. And the other one is the marquee game. So the first game on that docket is Titans at Dolphins. Dolphins are -1.5 at home. The implied total is 36.5. Randy, hit the pass button if you like.
Tony Pollard anytime touchdown.
Oh,
That's it.
okay. The cricket's back, Ben?
Yeah, that's how
Yeah. Cricket's back. Yep.
Love
The
it.
perfect game.
Perfect game to have the cricket here.
Yep.
The guest picker. Michael.
I got a Will Levis anytime memorable turnover that'll turn into a meme. He seems to do it once a week.
Okay.
He's 3 for 3. No, honestly, I'm just gonna stay away from this game. Like 36.5 point total seems like a lot for these two teams right now after watching them last week.
Mm-hmm.
So I might go under, but it's just so scary being that it's already set at 36.5. Probably tease up to 40 and feel pretty good about it though. There ain't no way both these teams score 20.
Ben.
Got nothing.
There it is. On cue.
Yeah, there it
Love
is.
I got nothing either. We're going to move on to the marquee Monday night matchup. The Monday night matchup that should have been here by itself, but due to flexing and NFL and the money juggernaut it is. Seattle at Detroit. Detroit's 3.5 point favorite. Implied total is 46.5. Michael, what you got on this game?
Just gonna take Detroit money line and be safe. I mean, I'm obviously not out of locks, but
I think we're all out of locks.
yeah, I mean, I feel like Detroit wins this game. 3.5 seems like a little much because I think it's gonna be more of like 3-2. But I mean, it's Detroit at home on Monday night. I think they win. I think the Seahawks. I mean, they've played good football, but I don't see them winning this game.
Ben.
My final lock, Hutch sack.
What about 2 sacks?
Nope, just going 1 sack. I got my 1 sack last week too. So, well, yes, I know, but yeah,
Am I out of locks?
Randy?
going 1.
Am I out of locks? I think I gave 5, right?
I don't know. I only have it down for 4.
Let's see. I have the under on Greg Joseph 7.5.
Yep.
The under on Rodgers passing yards. The under on Wilson receiving yards. Over on Kirk Cousins passing yards. And Hunter Henry under.
Okay, you got 5. I missed your Rodgers and Wilson. I thought you just really hated them.
So I'm just going to enjoy this game then. I think this is going to be a really good game. I actually think I kind of lead toward the under a little bit. I know. What's the total? Like 48.5, 49?
46.5, I think.
46.
Oh, never mind then. I'm just going to watch the game.
Should be a great
Wait,
game.
has that been an
Very
option the
entertaining.
whole year? I could have saved myself 12 losses so far.
It's okay. It happens. I'm gonna watch this game, enjoying whatever money I made on Sunday, and I feel really confident about this week. I think we have a good pulse on it this week. So we'll see how that goes. Michael, thank you for putting the locks as we went along. I don't have to ask anymore. We'll just review them through you. You'll, if you don't mind, going over the locks with everybody. As you do that, I will plug in the lock parlay of the week. We hopefully hit one of these. It'd be great.
Hopefully. Let me clear Ben's real quick because I missed one of his. I got Nico TD, Rams money line, Atlanta -2.5, Hutch sack.
Yeah, and Brees Hall touchdown.
Got it. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you need me to resave his, Adam?
No, I think I know what I'm going to take. So.
Okay. Randy's Greg Joseph under 7.5 total points kicking. Rodgers under yardage. What was your total on yardage?
Hang on a second. Let me scroll back up here.
Wilson under on receiving yards.
Wilson was 58.5, and Rodgers was
220 something, if I had to guess.
223.5, I think it was.
Kirk over passing yards, which was
220.5 for Kirk.
And then Hunter Henry under 14.5 longest reception.
Correct. Which I love that line on BetMGM for the Hunter Henry. It was -140 earlier.
And then mine were Browns money line, Bucks money line, Rams money line, Houston -6.5, and Dallas -5.5.
And then if you'll go over the bets for the viewers, here we go with my locks, please.
Your locks are Saints money line, Vikings money line, Steelers under 40.5 in that game against, was it, Colts? Yeah.
Yes.
Ayuk anytime TD and Kincaid anytime TD.
With those locks, taking one from each of us to make the parlay of the week. That is Ben's Brees Hall anytime touchdown, Cousins over 218.5, right?
220.5, I think. But if you got 218.5,
yeah.
you're good.
No,
Yeah, if it's 218, I'll take that too.
Yeah. That's
No,
yeah,
I have 220. I thought he said 218. I didn't want to steer wrong, but I have 220.5 over here. Over 220.5 for Kirk Cousins passing yards. Cleveland Browns the money line from Michael, and the under in the Colts Steelers game from me. That is a 4-leg parlay for plus 1076. The Parlay Whisperer, if it's green light, red light, Randy, what you say on it?
Red light. I don't like messing with the Cleveland team that we don't know what they are, and the Pittsburgh and Indy game. Like both those are just bad football teams that could accidentally score 37 points.
Fair enough. Hey, if you have a lock that you would like for this week and you would like to share with us and share with the world, please subscribe to this channel. If you enjoy our content, please subscribe to this channel. Share it with other people. You may not necessarily care for it, but you know friends who do. Go ahead. Send it out there to people. Social media is a huge thing, and people enjoy content like this. You'll have friends that are talking about around a water cooler, and you don't know what you're talking about, but you're like, hey, I know some knuckleheads that got some things to do. So subscribe, like, give us a comment on your lock. Be put into a contest for the end of the year to make a little cash, and have a good weekend watching football. And we'll see you next week. See ya.
See you guys.